A beautiful morning to you, our wonderful and distinguished viewers out there. You're welcome to today's edition of Finance Paper Review on your Super Dial 1 TV network here in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. I'm your host this lovely Thursday morning, the 16th day in the month of June 2022. Safas Ugochukwu is my name, and I'm here, of course, with my special guest this morning, my always guest and my usual guest. Welcome, sir, this morning.
Good morning, and it's good to have you here.
And it's good to have you here too, Didi West. It's been a long while.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful viewers. It's time for us to take a look on the national dailies and so they have in stock for us this morning. And of course, we'll start right away with the Punch newspaper, of course, with so many loaded headlines this morning coming on the front page of the paper. So let's take a look from the Punch and so they have for us this morning. On the topmost part of the Punch, we have the headline that reads, Nigeria's FX reserves to fall as CBN plans $1.7 billion arrears payment. You get full details of that story on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. And below that you have Buhari OK's TCN. And still on Punch this morning, we have our lawyers studying judgment on $1.7 billion Malabo scam case, according to the FG. Page 14, you get details of that story. 70 airlines failed in Nigeria. 3 may collapse soon, according to AON. Page 21, you have full details of that story. Now, coming to, before we get to the big story, today have another story that says, varsity lecturers, others spent 719 days on strike under Buhari. Page 10, you get details of that story. And below that, you have only Lagos, Delta, Kaduna, 2 others pay pensions, according to PENCOM. Full details you get on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. Now to the big story on Punch. Wike Okowa face panel today. CAMS fight over Atiku's VP slot. Page 2, you have details of that story with the following riders. Atiku needs VP that can help rescue Nigeria from APC. Okowa's aide insists. Wike's structure will give Atiku victory. Nwuke, ex-Rivers commissioner. And finally, on the right, we have APC may unveil Tinubu's VP today amid Muslim ticket controversy. Of course, details of that story read up right there in the Punch newspaper, which I comment on this big story as you can find on Punch this morning. And of course, if you look at the Punch, you see a very beautiful picture there. That's the SCDC deploys 9,747 personnel. Details you read up there on page 8 of the Punch. Inflation surges again, hits 17.71% amid rising prices. Page 22, you find full details of that story. And beside that story, you have experts call for action as monkeypox spreads to 15 states. Page 14, you get full details of that story. Oyo lawmakers begin moves to sack deputy governor. Page 10, you get full details of that story as well. Now, on the bottom page of the Punch, extend voter registration deadline. Reps urge INEC. You get full details of that on page 8. And still on Punch, Rivers woman sells sister's baby for 600,000 naira. Please arrest suspect. Page 4 and page 5, you get that story. Very, very funny and very disheartening. Finally, from the Punch, or we can find on the cover pages this morning, Owo massacre. Senate demands raid on killers' hideouts. Helicopter, drones, deployment. Page 15, you get full details of that story. Now let's take a look on the big story this one. Let's take a comment on that. The story said that the Opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, will on Thursday, that is today, screen nominees for the vice presidential position. Now, a chieftain of the party who confined on correspondence on Wednesday said, contrary to reports, 3 candidates were shortlisted. Now, the three candidates who are shortlisted, let's take a look on those that are shortlisted. Okowa, Wike, and Udom. Now, but the most favorite, as we have in that story, is Nyesom Wike, the sitting governor of Rivers State. Now, taking a look on these three persons, what can you make of the three likely VP and running mates for Atiku Abubakar?
I think all three are constitutionally qualified to take the position of running mate.
Okay.
All three are also from the south geopolitical zone of the country, which also may also give an indication of where where PDP is looking at for their VP. Then outrightly we would say number three that the southeast was not considered for this position. Yeah. But I think the question will be the kind of person each of these people is. Temperament, ability to contain pressure, ability to move things forward without having to, because one of the candidates, out of the three of them, Wike, Okowa, and Udom, is considered a bull in a China shop. So if you're not careful, all the China may be broken before he leaves the place. So that could be an issue. Then one of them is considered too new to be in the game. Yeah. So but at the end of the day, we are expecting that the leadership of the PDP would, for some reason or the other, select one of them. They just have to meet the INEC deadline, which is tomorrow, a few hours from now. So I think that should push them to take a decision today.
But for me, I don't see PDP actually looking out for credibility in this guy. I think they're looking for who can aid them win the election, because it is all about, if you look at the riders, Atiku needs a VP that can rescue Nigeria from APC. So I think it's all about getting victory that is the major concern in getting a vice presidential candidate to team up with Atiku, not really giving us the quality leadership that we need.
I think to a large extent you're right, but you see, that last minute decision, that last minute good name, something could just sway. So for me, I don't want to begin to say, oh, it's going to be this particular person because he can carry, because some slight information could change anything. It has happened a number of times. Yeah. We remember during OBJ's time, Atiku was elected governor. Yeah. And then he became vice presidential candidate. Okay. So let's see how things. No, Atiku was a governorship candidate. Yes, for his party, and then suddenly, so anything could still happen.
Okay, and one thing that can happen is that a vice president seat is not contested for. So INEC will not say, did he purchase form? Did he go for screening? All INEC wants to say, who is his running mate? So even if these three persons have been tipped, anything can still happen. This is politics, and this is Nigeria for you. But the most disturbing one is that of the APC, having an issue of Muslim partners. Nigerians have been complaining, how can we have a Muslim president, a Muslim vice president? Now, where lies the principle of equity there?
I think in one of the newspapers, I think it's the Punch or one of the papers today, this question was dealt with by Tinubu's media camp, okay. The media team of his campaign team, where Onanuga was referring to the fact that it has happened before. Okay, when MK Abiola and Kingibe ran. But like one of our guests said yesterday, the factors that led to such a selection is completely absent in today's Nigeria. Yes. And then this morning, Masari from Katsina State, also a Muslim, was has been presented, according to the newspaper. Daily Post is saying that Masari has been selected, but it could be changed in due course. But again, the 2022 Electoral Act does not allow for such replacement.
Okay.
I don't know whether the party is aware of that. So they need to be careful. They need to look at that act properly before placing a name and wanting to replace it. They need to be careful.
Because one thing in Nigeria, we have so many electoral acts in the country, but one thing is that the electoral act and the constitution of the country seems not to agree at some certain point in time. But let us hope that the needful will be done. But having a Muslim president and vice for the country of Nigeria, looking at the scenario and the situation of the country today, I don't think it will go down well with so many persons out there. Abiola Kingibe's situation and the situation of Nigeria at the moment cannot be compared in any way. So looking at Nigerians giving us Christian or Muslim, I don't think Nigerians will actually welcome that. So I believe APC still have to do something before the deadlines is not being met with. But then away from there, we'll go straight to Guardian newspaper with so many beautiful headlines as well this morning. And we'll start with the headline that says, economy heads for collapse as Nigerians pay 876.6 billion naira for darkness. In fact, we are going to comment on this. Is a serious issue in this country. What could be the cause? We shall be looking at that as well. But you can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Beside that, we have a WHO issues advisory on vaccines for monkeypox. Page 4, you get full details of that story in the Guardian newspaper. Now, to the big story as you can find on Guardian this morning, VP, APC still consulting as PDP screens Wike today. With the following riders, Ganduje, Masari, El-Rufai on the list. Northwest favored due to block votes amid Muslim consideration. Carlo justifies APC's Muslim ticket. ACF ex-scribe Sani warns parties, says Muslim ticket recipe for crisis. All of that you read up, and of course the story started on the cover page of the paper and continues on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Okay, coming below the picture there is, I can see a picture on the Guardian where we are looking at the Vice President, the National Security Advisor to Mr. President, General Babagana Mungano. Babagana Mungano. We also see the Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, also on the picture. Vice President Yemi Osibajo, Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and of course Secretary to the Federal Government, to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. And of course that was during the Executive Council meeting at the State House, Abuja, yesterday. So you can see that beautiful picture there showing all those men. But then below that picture there we have local airlines risk collapse as Jet A1 hits 714 naira per liter. What an outrageous price there. But get full details of that on business page 18 of the Guardian newspaper. Beside that, you have a food price volatility pushes headline inflation to 17.7%. Page 18 as well, you get full details of that story. Families decry mental condition of 11 freed train passengers. Tax FG. Page 28, you get full details of that story. And finally, from the Guardian this morning, Northern youths support Wike as Atiku's running mate. Page 29, you get full details. Now to the talking point, let's look at the first story. We used to have NEPA, now PACN. It is, for me, just a change of name and not a change of principles and the modus operandi of the power sector. Now Nigerians paying 876.6 billion naira for darkness. What do you make of that?
I really want to begin with the days that we had Electricity Company of Nigeria, ECN.
Yeah.
Then we went to NEPA, which some of us say never accept power always. I'm sorry, but that's what some people refer to. And then we have PHCN. Then we have the NERC, which came to regulate the industry.
Yeah.
I was saying to somebody off the studio that Nigerians need to really look at this power challenge, especially because for every administration since 1999, there had been bulk money set aside to fix our power. And if one adds all the monies together, beginning with 60 billion US dollars during Obasanjo's reign, put them together, we should not get anything lower than 100,000 megawatts of power minimum.
Okay.
You know, and that would have enabled us to export power to other countries. That's one part of it. The other part is that this issue of estimated billing.
Yeah.
I know that government is saying so much, and that's the challenge we have. Government is saying so much about what needs to be done because they know what should be done.
Yes.
By now, every building in Nigeria should have a prepaid meter, so that you pay for what you use. When there's no power, you don't pay. But you find at the end of the month, just 2 days to the end of the month, they flicker lights in some areas. Then the next Monday, that they begin to disconnect people. So people pay money. So that caption is true, but it's a mockery on every government. It's a mockery on government.
And it seems to be a deliberate act by government of the day, because looking at the scenario now, you don't get to see the power to enjoy, but towards the end of the month, they give it the light, very epileptic in nature, even at that. But what you see next is bills. Failure to pay, they cut you off. That means this is a deliberate act just to scoop money from the citizens and not giving them what they pay for.
I would rephrase what you just said slightly. I would say that it is mismanagement of knowledge.
Okay.
It's mismanagement of business practice, because if people are happy with what they are parting with, they will gladly part with it. Then this kind of captions won't come. So if you have this billing system that you only pay for power you have used, because there is your prepaid meter mode deals with that. So I wouldn't say that it's a deliberate act by government to take money from us. I would say it's seriously fractured business sense. It's seriously fractured policy implementation sense, and the fact that some people somewhere are taking advantage of the system and lining their pockets.
Okay, line their pockets. And the funny thing is that we are spending this amount of money paying to the government, but are they able to use this money to service the power sector and give us more power supply? Nobody could say anything to that. And what we only hear is that there's collapse of the power grid, which have collapsed twice within a space of 2 weeks. And we'll be asking ourselves, what is the TRCN doing about that? Nothing. But then let us hope that in future we'll get to hear something good about our power system in the country, Nigeria. Now, away from Ghana, we'll go straight to the Nation newspaper. And Nation has some also interesting headlines for our discussion this morning. And on the top of the paper, we have the headline that says, aviation fuel hits 714 naira per liter as petrol. You get that on page 8 of the Nation newspaper. Beside that, you have Oyo Assembly slams misconduct charges against Deputy Governor. Page 27, you get details of that story. PDP orders Sean Ekiti Peace Pact signing. Page 5, you have the story, and then below that you have a MBS puts inflation rate at 17.71%. Page 8, full details of that statistics you get right there. Now to the big story as we can find in the Nation newspaper this morning. Court jails Mama Boko Haram 2 years for 71 million naira fraud. Now below that you have a last minute intrigues in PDP over Atiku's running mate, with the rider Ikimi panel to screen Wike. Anxiety among party chiefs over choice. You read up that story from the cover page and continues on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Now below that you have a very beautiful picture as well, showing I can see the Oba and Oba there, Bishop Kuka, and of course the governorship aspirants right there in Ekiti State coming to sign the peace pact with the absence of the major actors and great opposition party in Nigeria today, PDP, not being part of that peace part. We shall be looking at that if there's anything that have to do with that. But then you read up that you can see the picture there. But below that picture, you have the story that says, issues in varsity union strike complicated, says minister. With the rider, government ASU talks ongoing. Of course, the story you read up from the cover page and continues on page 4 of the paper. Then beside that, Nigeria's oil output declined. Saudi, UAE, Kuwait, Angola, Congo raises supply. You get full details of that from the cover page, and as well continues on page 4 of the paper. And finally, from the paper, just on the bottom page, or rather on the bottom column of the cover page of the Nation, you have our monarch to invoke curses on Catholic Church attackers. Page 3, you read of that story. Now, let us start with that. The monarch saying he's going to invoke. Worshippers came to church to worship God in a normal way, freely, and praise our God, only to get attacked and so many of them killed. Some other parents are still struggling with life right there in the hospital. What do you make of that attack and the monarch threatening to invoke curses on the attackers?
It's saddening with every sense of humanity. I feel disturbed that people were worshipping some of those people that were killed were in their very 20s and all that. But looking at the monarch, I won't blame him.
Yeah.
When people have lost faith in government and governance, this kind of thing will be said.
Of course.
I mean, it's still better that he said this than asking his people to go seek vengeance.
Yeah.
But for sure, whether we like it or not, whatever that man says, because he has the authority of backing, he has the authority of the land, he has the authority of God as a leader, whatever he says will have some effect on the people.
Definitely.
You know, like they say, you see some people going through some things, you don't know what happened in the past, and somebody cursed them. So it will have some effect, but it also tells people, government, that the people have lost faith in the capacity to that goes also to the state government, not just the federal government. The security in that security must be taken, must become a super thing for them.
Okay, because if you look at what's happening in the country when it comes to attack, is I say that government doesn't really intervene in matters like this. We are seeing the issue of the train attack, Abuja, Kaduna train bomb. Up to today, we are still talking about negotiating to get these people freed. Many persons have been killed in their numbers in the Kaduna just a few days ago, 2 days back. Certain people were kidnapped in Katsina State, even though they've been freed. And things like that continue to happen. And it's obvious that government of the day have not really been proactive in nature in order to prevent these happenings. Just yesterday, one of the papers where the CP was telling the people, telling the clerics, please, Viewers, good morning once again. You're still tuned to One TV, reaching this lovely Thursday morning, the 16th day in the month of June 2022. You are welcome to People's Parliament, a time where we discuss the burning issues right here in the country, where we discuss major issues affecting the country, politics and economy, and livelihood in the country at large. This morning is not exception, because we are going to be looking at elections and election-related issues in the country. Remember, we are in the season of election in the country. Parties have gone through their primary elections, so we're expecting to get the final list as we submitted to INEC in few hours from now to determine who are the credible and standard flag bearers of the various political parties in the country come 2023 general elections, especially as it has to do with the most exotic election in the country, the presidential elections. But then, away from there, we'll be looking at something that is very, very important, and that is the issue of citizens exercising their franchise, exercising the fundamental right of electing their leaders in the country. But one thing is very obvious: you can't do that without your voters, your permanent voters card, the PVC. And the time is now, and people are jostling to get their PVC registration done in the country. Then our point is going to have to do with the problem that is surrounding getting your PVC at the moment. This is something that everybody ought to do. What every citizen needs to have as an important document at the moment. But there are so many problems arising from the issuance and obtainance of the PVC across the country. So we shall be looking at those hurdles and the problems associated with the PVC registration today. So once again, I'm not alone in the studio. I have my big partner, as always, here in the studio. Say hi to the people.
My name is Didi West, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, Mr. Didi, you are welcome once again. As we said, one document that every Nigerian must have is the voter's card, the PVC, that's the permanent voter's card, the case may be, because without that, you are automatically disenfranchised. We've been talking, we want good leadership, good governance, but one thing is a passport to get to that point, and that is the PVC. So looking at the PVC, what's your opinion on the registration so far?
Yes, I'm glad we are taking this on. We are saying that getting your PVC is not enough. Beyond getting your PVC, you need to do something else. And interestingly, I've been able to, I went around town over the weekend and I was sampling people's opinion. And I found out that there is a new wave, a very massive wave of people getting interested in collecting their PVCs, which is good in itself. But looking into history, from 1999 to the 2019 election, there was always a wave of people rushing to get their PVCs, but the number of people who get their PVCs do not reflect at the election.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of questions have come up. Why is it so? In a particular year, 81 million people collected their PVCs, 81 point something million, but only 20 something or about 30 million people voted. So when you look at it, it's like 1/3 of the number that went out to get their PVCs voted. So that is a concern. For us to get it right, people must not only get their PVCs, they must go ahead and use the PVCs. That is the challenge, and all kinds of advocacy is out there, videos, comments, social media comments, all manner of things are being done, and we support the interest in getting the PVCs, but we're also supporting the move to ensure that the PVCs are used on election days.
Okay, and then that brings us to the topic of discussion this morning that says getting your PVC is not enough. In economics, we say that in production is not complete until the goods gets to the final consumers.
Yes, sir.
Now, this morning I took a bottle of Coke. That is when the production has been termed to be complete. Because you have to count, okay, the empty cartons, this is how much you've produced, not the stock you have in your warehouse. So getting your PVC is one thing that is very, very important. But using the PVC is the essence of the troubles we have at the moment. We've been clamoring for change in leadership structure of the country. We've been clamoring to have good leadership in the country. But this change cannot be effective without you making use of your PVC. Getting PVC is one thing. Using it is the ultimate thing, because once you're up to 8 years of age in this country, you are now qualified to be part of the election process in the country. You cannot disenfranchise yourself. So when you have your PVC, you don't use it, it's as good as not having your PVC in the first place. We have some videos to play this one, and we're going to be working on those videos so you can watch closely and see the crazy drive for PVCs. Why do we need those PVCs? Why are Nigerians coming for PVCs at the moment? If you look at Nigeria today, the story is everywhere. We need PVCs. Every discussion is turned towards PVCs. Now, getting your PVC is not enough. What then do we need after the PVCs?
Yes, we need to get into advocacy. More and more people need to talk to more people.
Yeah.
That whenever the voter turnout is so few, we give politicians, especially the corrupt-minded politicians, the latitude to take advantage and do the things they do. Fortunately, I'm to some extent, I'm happy that we have the Electoral Act 2022, that in some way, especially if the electronic voter returns is taken advantage of, especially with the beavers, then we are likely to have a more credible election than we've had since 1999. So to the question of after your PVC, what next? Go out and use the PVCs to vote on the respective voter days.
Okay, just like having your ATM, your ATM, you become moribund in your wallet. So we're saying that go to PVC. That's the first assignment today. When you get your PVC, get them to be put to proper use. And the use we're talking about is on election day, come and exercise your civic responsibility, and that is exercising your franchise. Going out there to vote is the most important thing. So in the video, I'm going to give you a clip, all right, what to be expecting, or the craziness about request to our PVCs. So let us take a look at that. When we come back, we shall be discussing and talking more on that. So the first one to be looking at is on the first video you'll be seeing at the moment. So stay tuned and watch this clip as we'll be discussing more on them. Okay, our wonderful viewers, we sincerely apologize for the audio inability to be heard by you, the wonderful viewers. But one thing is very certain: if you take a closer clip or a closer look at that clip, you see a young boy, a youth at that, who was not putting on shirt with a very big cut on his forehead. Now, what is the cause of that? Some days back in Lagos State, we had the news. It was not just the news, but the trending news at the moment, where some persons came out to get their PVCs. And in the process, they were attacked by hoodlums who came to dispatch them and got many of them injured in the process. Now that brings our question: why must we now attack people coming out to get their PVCs? What could be the cause of that?
We'll look at this from 2 points of view. There is a thinking. I was in a taxi this morning, and the driver was saying that what happened in Lagos State, as per this video we just saw, also happened in the state he used to live in, and that's in Kebbi State.
Even in Imo State as well.
That
somewhere in Imo State.
Okay, that in Kebbi State, a particular tribe, I would because we're on TV, I want to be careful. A particular tribe in the south, people from a particular tribe in the southern Nigeria are being stopped from collecting their PVCs. And when you go take this story and compare with what happened in Ojo, and it's the same, almost same thing happening, you wonder whether there is ethnic bias coming into play. But the police spokesman in Lagos State said that what happened was that the traders did not inform people that they will not open that day. So when people came from different parts of the country to buy from this Alaba market, and it's a very important market, people were happy to get their business. I went to do this thing, that if they had informed them, they would have taken precautions. So it seemed to be a balance of two things. People are saying they should have informed that they will not open their shops on that particular day, Thursday last week, and you could look at it that way. But we would say that nothing should stop people from collecting their PVCs. People, government and all should encourage people from taking their PVCs. It's very, very important. There's no excuse. They may not have managed it well. Yes, the other one was also saying that they could have closed their shades in tons. Okay, people that were dealing with spare parts would have gone first. Then maybe the next day, the people that are doing that way, the market will still be running. So there's a way of looking at it. So I don't want to put it on yet until that we see a second or third event, then we can confirm that.
But ethnic or not ethnic, I should decide what to do and tell me what to do. Yeah, customer is always right, but not on my right. Now this guy say they went out there, they made an announcement from this area on national TV and all that. They actually made an announcement everybody should go and collect your PVC. They have a plan that no PVC, no entrance into your shops, no entrance to the market. Now, because of that fear, people have to go for their PVCs. Now, a customer going to tell the trader that because he didn't inform us before, there's no rationality in any of that. If that is actually it was already played out, I don't think the dealers will be happy with their customers as well.
No, up till 10 o'clock of that day, from the report I gathered, the people that wanted to go to the market didn't bother because it was a Thursday.
Yes.
Regular cleaning.
Exactly.
So the fracas started after 10 o'clock because now cleanup was over.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to give any ethnic coloration to what happened in Lagos yet until a second or third wave happens. Then we know what to say.
They will know what to say.
Because I am aware that way back when I was staying in Ogun State, there was a time when this kind of sentiment was raised in Ogun State. But fortunately, the government of the day immediately put it down.
Yes.
You cannot stop, for instance, people from the southeast and south from going to do elect who they wanted to elect because they are Moibo, okay? But before it could be taken in that light, the government of the day did something that it was not right and it should not happen. So I believe that it should be the same thing playing out in Lagos. We should not bring ethnic colorations into this thing.
But going back to statistics before us this morning, so we can really take a look on the level of voter education in the country and the level of voter participation in getting registered in the ongoing exercise moment. Now, from the statistics before me this morning shows that 0.68 million persons have registered in southeast part of the country. In the northeast, we have 1.51 million persons registered. In north central, we have 1.87 million registered. In the northwest, we have 2.01 people registered. South 2.16 million, and then southwest we have 2.25 million registered. Now, fully completed registration, we can say this is the total number of persons registered so far. Completed registration in the country, as per statistics, shows that southeast has a total of 0.58 million. South 0.73 million. Northeast 0.89 million, North Central 1.26 million, Southwest 1.3 million, and then Northwest 1.33 million persons so far fully registered in the country, bringing up to total about 10 million people registered at the moment, completely registered 10 million at the moment. Now, taking a look at this, INEC says their target is to get 20 million persons fully and completed registered in the country. Do you think at the moment that the education of voters and enlightenment on the need to get a PVC is really making wave and is really going on well in the country at the moment?
Yes, my view is that Mike Okoye has been Festus Okoye of INEC
Commission in terms of communication and voter education
has done quite commendably well.
Okay.
I commend him. He's been consistent since 2015 or 2019, and I think that yes, on the part of INEC, they've done so much to get people to go out there to register and get their PVCs. I am concerned, however, with the National Orientation Agency. I'm concerned about the Federal Minister of Information. I'm concerned about the respective state ministries of information. I'm concerned about the respective information units of the local governments. You know, we seem to have left this entire work to be done at the federal level and INEC alone. I think that people are being lazy. By now, each state government should be pounding. I thank God for the. I thank you for the data you just read out. Looking at for what it is, it looks at the southwest and two northern.
The North Central, the Northwest
are already massively registered already, and we are talking about new registration because we must go out there and encourage our people. If you're saying that voter patterns will change, it will start with how many people have the PVC.
That is the question.
Last night I received information which I want to confirm once we leave here, that INEC has extended the voter registration deadline to sometime in August. We need to confirm that before we read it as news here. But if that is true, then these zones, the south and southeast, need to go out there and push and not only register but get their PVC, get to vote. I want to read something out. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we read something about complacency, voter complacency. That it was yesterday. It is responsible for mismanagement. When in government, when people know that people don't care, we have the people I call sit-down lookers. They just once you name politics, oh, it is dirty. Go and vote. Oh, my vote won't count.
It won't count.
This is not the season for that. We appeal to all sit-down lookers, the fence sitters, the complacent people. Go out there and use your vote. This is a time. You can't be complaining that your children are at home because of ASU strike. You are paying so much of what's that called? Something bill, estimated bill for power. You cannot get good roads to travel in. Communication costs are high. People complain about so many things, but the very window that will enable them to change these complaints, they do nothing about. Somebody's always passing the buck. My vote will count. My vote will count. Your vote will count until you go out to vote. So, like we said, I think some weeks back, we said everybody is a member. It's an INEC. Exactly. When every Nigerian sees himself as part of INEC, an extension of INEC, you go out there and vote. The Americans talk about voter myopic principle, that a lot of voters look only at the present day considerations. They don't remember that these people that are going to vote for will stay in power for 4 or 5 years. When you look at 4 or 5 years, your orientation begins to change. No, I can't. I must go out to vote. I can't allow such a man to be representing me for 4 or 5 years because he has not done anything in the past and is not going to do anything. The last time was given an opportunity to do this and that, he messed it up. So we are going to go for this time. And when we begin to break these myopic tendencies of voters, I think that 2023 will be good. It is time we appeal to our people to go out there. Getting your PVC is not enough. In fact, it is a sin not to get your PVC.
Not to get your PVC.
Then it is a double sin to get the PVC and not vote.
Okay. Talking about making it a sin, I remember the letter given to the churches, which was a letter given by the Cali Bishop Conference, that every clergyman must present his or her PVC. In fact, last week it was Asunda Cathedral saying that everybody come to Asunda Cathedral and get registered, because the church has said that if you don't get your PVC, then don't come to church. Of course, that was a headline that we read yesterday in one of the papers. But going by this, by the voter registration exercise going on at the moment, we feel that the youths are really taking the bull by the horn. But then, the INEC has said that it has registered 6.8 million new voters between June 2021 and at the moment. And it noted that about 4.8 million of the new registrants, representing 69.7%, we are youths, and a majority of them we are students, business persons, and housewives. You see that? So majority of the people that have raised at the moment are purely youths, students, businessmen, and then housewives, meaning that the youths need to really act seriously. You are leaders of tomorrow, and if you don't act now, then tomorrow may also do what? Elude us. But then, wonderful viewers and listeners, before we take it, because time is no longer on our side, what do you make of the youths taking the center stage and the front row in the registration exercise ongoing?
Yes, yesterday, last night, I was having a meeting with somebody, and this issue came up, and I said, thank God for the ASUU strike. Okay. It's a bitter experience.
Okay.
It's a bitter experience,
yeah.
But having stayed at home for I think about almost a year during COVID-19 wahala, and then coming to stay at home for such a long time, these students that considered voter and my vote will not count, they don't already decide who will win the election. All the election results have been out. We are just wasting our time. This ASUU strike has pained them so much that they are saying we are not going to sit back and watch things happen the way it has been done. It's not a positive thing that happened, it's not a good thing that happened, but this ASUU strike in particular has become a wake-up call for youths, and they are out there saying this time they would, in fact, not to have your PVC and not to vote will make an enemy of your fellow students. So I think it's a good development for our election. Youths, go out there and use your anger correctly.
Yes, go out there and use your anger correctly. We've seen the EndSARS protests in the country. We've seen the ASUU strike protests in the country, and we've seen so many things happening in the country today. So the department can actually be corrected and be solved by you, the youth, and all of us out there. Go get your PVC and put them to use come 2023. And most of these errors will be duly collected. This is how much you can take on today's program, talking about People's Parliament. Cephas Ugochukwu remains my name, and to be my partner this morning.
Didi West, have a good one.
Have a wonderful day. Till tomorrow, do enjoy the rest of the day, and bye for now.